The flu pandemic of 1918 to 1919, also known as the Spanish flu, was the deadliest virus in world history. This brutal illness infected an estimated 500 million people worldwide, about one-third of the planet's population at the time. This particular virus aims at the respiratory systems, which is mainly the lungs. It has claimed the lives of an estimated 20 million to 50 million victims, including some 675,000 Americans.
The 1918 flu was first observed in Europe shortly after World War I. There is not one direct reason for the outbreak, but research suggests that after all the chemical warfare that happened caused a new variation of the known illness, influenza. In addition, another factor was the stress and poor nutrients soldiers experienced. These two factors weakened the immune system, and when these soldiers returned home, it allowed for a much more diverse spread.
So stress can affect the body in many ways. I feel all of you probably have experienced stress before. You can be stressed, and that can affect your behavior, that can affect your thought process, that can affect how you, your feelings and your emotions. Stress can also do pretty much a lot of damage to your body. It can affect your cardiovascular system. It can make your heart beat faster. It can affect your respiratory system. You can obviously breathe faster.
The virus spread to the United States and parts of Asia, then swiftly spreading around the world. A letter by a doctor stationed at Camp Devens, a military base just west of Boston, writes to a friend and fellow physician of the conditions to be found as influenza was making its presence felt.
Army Base Fort Devens is near Boston and has about 50,000 men, or did have before this epidemic broke loose. It also has the base hospital for the Division of the Northeast. This epidemic started about 4 weeks ago and has developed so rapidly that the camp is demoralized and all ordinary work is held up until the flu is passed. These men start with what appears to be an attack from influenza, and when brought to the hospital, they very rapidly develop the most vicious type of pneumonia. After 2 hours of admission, they have the mahogany spots all over their cheekbones. After a few hours, you can start to see the cyanosis extending from their ears.
The virus was spread in many different ways. Some include through aerial transmission, such as coughing. Coughing projected the virus, allowing for it to attach itself to another host. Another way was insects such as mosquitoes, fleas, and ticks. These insects and parasites would suck up blood of previous hosts that may have had the illness and transfer it to another person when they came on for blood.
Viruses spread by contact. Viruses spread by bodily fluids. Viruses spread by potentially being airborne. So the Spanish flu is obviously a virus, and I imagine that people got sick by those things. Also, if there was an area where you have high dense populations, a virus can spread very quickly because you have a lot of people to infect in one area. Especially if the virus is not used to many immune systems, it has the ability to infect people pretty quickly, and they can become very ill because of that.
At the time, there were no effective drugs or vaccines to treat this killer flu strain. Citizens were ordered to wear masks in public to prevent the spread of the disease. In addition, schools, theaters, and businesses were shut down and closed, while bodies were being piled up outside in makeshift morgues. The Spanish flu came in 2 waves. The first wave infected in the spring of 1918 and caused people to feel weary and have high fevers. This wave was the least lethal and would see victims recovering in at most 7 days. The second wave, compared to the first, was more violent and devastating. It occurred in the early fall. During this wave, victims would instantly cough violently and their skin would turn blue. The main cause of death at this time was choking on lung fluid or blood. Most patients would die within hours of obtaining the virus.
One positive outcome is in today's age, we are all now vaccinated and grow to be immune to the virus. When we get vaccines, they cause antibodies to develop in the body after about 2 weeks after the vaccination. These antibodies provide protection against infection with the viruses that are in the vaccine.